For our company, we chose Starbucks and the current labor strike crisis. Starbucks is currently facing a major labor relations crisis that's growing rapidly across the US. More than 550 Starbucks locations have unionized, and the shift has created a significant tension between workers and management. Employees have raised concerns about reduced hours, inconsistent schedules, and retaliation for union involvement. A key issue driving the conflict is that Starbucks has been accused of refusing to bargain in good faith with these newly unionized stores. Contract negotiations have stalled, and workers feel that the company is deliberately delaying the process. In response, employees have organized strikes nationwide, calling for fair negotiations and improved working conditions. These actions have resulted in a surge of unfair labor practice allegations, which include claims of retaliation and interference with workers' organizing rights. As these cases pile up, tensions continue to escalate. The situation is important because it threatens Starbucks' brand reputation, its operational stability, and its credibility in living out its mission of inspiring and nurturing the human spirit. A company known for belonging and community is now facing public scrutiny over how it treats its own employees. Overall, the ongoing labor conflict highlights a significant gap between Starbucks' values and employees' lived experiences, making this a critical issue for the organization moving forward.
The problem overview. So today I'm going to talk about the growing labor crisis Starbucks is facing. It's an issue that threatens the company's operations, legal standing, and its reputation as a socially responsible brand. Over the past few years, more than 550 Starbucks locations have been voted to unionize, driven by workers seeking better conditions, predictable schedules, and a stronger voice on the job. Despite this nationwide movement, union leaders say Starbucks has consistently refused to bargain in good faith. They accused the company of stalling negotiations, cutting employee hours, and firing workers who support organizational efforts. These tensions have led to major protests and strikes, including the widely publicized Red Cup Rebellion, where thousands of baristas walked out on one Starbucks' busiest promotional days. Workers have also filed hundreds of unfair labor practice charges, alleging retaliation violations of federal labor laws. If these claims were upheld, Starbucks could face serious legal consequences and mandated policy changes. Beyond the legal challenges, this conflict clashes with the company's long-standing image as a progressive, community-focused employer. For years, Starbucks has marketed itself as a leader in social responsibility, but the growing number of disputes, allegations, and walkouts has created a clear gap between the company's public image and what many workers say they experience in stores every day. Ultimately, this crisis isn't just about wages or schedules. It reflects a broader shift in the American workplace. Employees want stability, fairness, and meaningful say in how their workplaces are run. How Starbucks responds now will define its relationship with its workers and shape the future of its brand.
So our proposed solution for Starbucks is built around three connected strategies: strengthening collective bargaining, improving daily work conditions, and creating a joint national council. Together, these will help reduce ongoing conflict while building a more stable, respectful, and effective workplace. First, we recommend improving the collective bargaining process itself. One of the biggest issues in prolonged disputes is that negotiation can become very inconsistent or reactive. To fix that, we propose setting a regular bargaining schedule so communication stays predictable and structured. We also recommend sending negotiations with real decision-making power because when the right people are at the table, agreements can move from discussion to action much more quickly. And importantly, if negotiations reach a standstill, a neutral mediator can really help both sides regain momentum and stay focused on productive solutions. This keeps the conversation from becoming personal or stagnating while tensions rise. Secondly, we focus on improving work conditions because even the best agreements won't matter if employees still feel unsupported in day-to-day lives. A major step is establishing a minimum staffing level for busy hours and days, which protects employees from burnout and ensures customers get consistent service. We also suggest posting schedules in advance, which reduce anxiety and help workers plan their lives outside of work. Adding reasonable shift times support fairness and reduce turnover. And finally, we recommend that leadership reviews wages to ensure compensation matches demand and industry expectations. Even small improvements here can have a big effect on morale and attention. Third, we propose creating a joint national council that meets regularly. This council would provide a structured place to discuss ongoing concerns, including staffing, safety, scheduling, and training, before they turn into larger disputes. Another key role of this council is reviewing real performance indicators like turnover, customer satisfaction, and workplace incidents. This keeps decisions grounded in evidence rather than assumptions. From there, the council then can support long-term programs to improve working conditions and continuously adjust based on what the employees are actually experiencing. Overall, this solution is designed to shift relationships from reactive conflict to consistent collaboration. It creates clear communication, fairer work environments, and more sustainable operations. And in the long run, that doesn't just benefit employees, but it actually strengthens service quality, protects the organization's reputation, and improves outcomes from everyone involved.
So now I'll walk through our implementation plan, which outlines how Starbucks can begin making these changes effectively and sustainably. The first part of the plan focuses on collective bargaining. We recommend that Starbucks schedules regular bargaining sessions with Starbucks Workers United and ensures that company representatives attending these meetings have true decision-making authority. This prevents delays, demonstrates good faith participation, and helps discussion move forward. We also suggest bringing in neutral third-party mediators when disagreements become difficult to resolve, which keeps negotiating productive rather than being stalled. By prioritizing consistent communication through bargaining, Starbucks moves from conflict towards collaboration. Next, Starbucks should focus on improving day-to-day working conditions at the store level. We recommend starting with high-volume locations where understaffing and unpredictable scheduling have the biggest operational impact. This includes setting minimum wage staffing guidelines during peak hours, posting schedules further in advance, and better aligning shift lengths with realistic workloads. These adjustments help reduce burnout, improve service quality, and show employees that their concerns are being heard and addressed. Finally, our plan introduces an ongoing structure for monitoring progress. We propose a National Labor Management Council that meets quarterly to review key workplace data such as turnover rates, customer satisfaction, staffing issues, and safety concerns. This council gives employees a voice and creates a direct system for identifying problems early and taking action before they escalate. It allows Starbucks to demonstrate transparency and accountability by openly tracking results over time. When these three steps, genuine bargaining, smarter staffing, and ongoing communication work together, Starbucks builds a healthier work environment and stronger foundation for long-term success. Before moving forward, we want to acknowledge the risks involved and explain why they're worth taking. In the short run, the biggest risk is increased labor costs. Improving pay, adding staff, and supportive bargaining efforts all require financial investment. That also includes training costs as new employees are hired to reduce current workload pressure. For a company the size of Starbucks, these upfront costs are meaningful. Additionally, negotiations may take time and not every issue will be solved immediately. There may still be moments of disagreement or frustration as both sides learn to work together differently. However, when we look beyond the short term, the benefits come clear. By making these investments now, Starbucks greatly reduces the long-term risks that are currently harming the company. For example, ongoing strikes interrupt business and impact customer experience. By addressing labor concerns directly, Starbucks decreases the likelihood of future strikes and stores closure. Legal expenses also add up quickly, especially with the number of disputes currently pending. A more cooperative approach reduces those costs significantly over time. One of the biggest long-term risks is reputational damage. Starbucks has built its brand on social responsibility, connection, and care for people. When news headlines focus on conflicts with employees instead of great service and community impact, customers may choose to support competitors instead. Repairing brand trust becomes much harder the longer these issues go unaddressed. Overall, while Starbucks may experience short-term increases in cost and effort, the long-term improvement in employee morale, operational stability, and customer loyalty and brand image far outweigh those temporary risks.
Moving on to the decision request, we're proposing an annual investment of approximately 150 to 250 million. That number includes three main pieces. Number one, the cost of good faith bargaining and legal or administrative support, improved staffing, scheduling, and pay to make day-to-day work more sustainable, and lastly, the creation and ongoing support of a joint national council with Starbucks Workers United. We don't want this to present as just a big cost, but as a strategic investment in Starbucks' workforce and brand. Right now, the company is already paying in other ways with turnover, training, strikes, negative headlines, and hundreds of unfair labor practices cases. Our plan takes that money Starbucks is effectively spending on conflict and redirects it so it's spending it on solutions. In terms of a timeline, we expect to see meaningful progress within the next year. This doesn't mean that every issue will be fixed in the next 12 months, but within that time, Starbucks should be able to establish a clear and public bargaining timeline, pilot better staffing and scheduling policies in key markets, and launch the Joint National Council so workers and management have a consistent way to address problems together. None of this can happen without a clear choice from the top. So our final ask is to request an executive approval to move forward with this plan and commit the 100 to 250 million annual budget needed to support it. By approving this investment, leadership would be choosing a collaborative, long-term strategy, one that stabilizes the workforce, reduces the risk of future strikes and legal cases, and protects Starbucks' reputation as a company that lives up to its values. In short, we're just asking Starbucks executives to say yes to this plan so the company can start turning a cycle of conflict into a cycle of trust and partnership.